A shadow moves through the fog. Slow, steady, and too familiar to ignore. Fans believe the story of Outlander is almost over, but what if the final season brings back someone the characters in the audience swore was gone forever? What if Season 8's biggest twist isn't a new danger, but the return of a ghost from the past who can change everything? Stay close, because this comeback might be the most shocking moment the series has ever teased. Season 8 begins in a world on the edge of total chaos. The American Revolutionary War stretches across the colonies like a growing storm cloud, swallowing cities, families, and futures. For Jamie and Claire, danger has never been new, but now it feels closer than ever. Claire fears each sunrise because she knows war can take everything in a heartbeat. Jamie, driven by loyalty and love, walks into battle after battle with the weight of destiny on his shoulders. Both of them believe they have faced the worst the world can give. But Season 7 proved how quickly their lives can twist apart. Claire was dragged across the ocean. Torn away from Jamie by forces she couldn't control, Jamie followed her through death, fire, and war, fighting like a man who refuses to lose the one thing he has left. Their reunion brought relief, but it was the kind of peace that always feels temporary in Outlander. Fans know nothing stays calm for long. Every quiet moment in this world is only a breath before something new explodes. Meanwhile, Brianna and Roger face another kind of battle, one that stretches across time itself. Their son Jemmy was taken into the future by a man twisted by his own fears and desires. The hunt for him forced Brianna and Roger to cross timelines again, splitting the family and creating a story where love has to bend across centuries just to survive. They are caught in a different kind of war, one where knowledge is the weapon and history can turn into a maze. These storylines, full of fear, hope, and loss, set a perfect stage for a shocking comeback. Outlander has always taken its characters to the breaking point before pulling them into something even darker or even more unbelievable. That is why Season 8 feels like a final storm on the horizon. The war, the time jumps, the painful choices, all of it has created a world ready for something wild to happen. A world ready for someone unexpected to walk back onto the stage, and this is where the comeback theory begins to burn. Because as the characters face the greatest threats of their lives, a return from the past could change every path at once. Whether it's an ally thought dead, an enemy long buried, or a figure tied to time itself. Outlander's final season may deliver a return no one dared to guess. And once this person steps back into the story, nothing, absolutely nothing, will stay the same. Outlander has never been the kind of story that follows simple rules. It bends time, plays with fate, and brings characters back when the world believes they are gone forever. That's why Season 8 feels like the perfect place for a comeback that rewrites everything. In this universe, death is not always the final door, and the past is never fully buried. The stones can open, memories can return, and history can twist itself into shapes no one expects. Fans have watched Claire slip through centuries, Jamie survive impossible odds, and villains rise long after people prayed they were gone. So when someone whispers that a familiar face might return in the last season, the idea doesn't sound impossible. It sounds exactly like Outlander. The story has always loved giving viewers just enough hope to breathe, then pulling the floor out from under them. Think of Murtagay's shocking survival years after his planned death. Think of guileless Duncan stepping out of the shadows when everyone thought her story was finished. Even Blackjack Randall shaped the plot long after his death, proving that trauma, obsession, and memory can keep someone alive in the narrative. Outlander has never hesitated to use the past like a loaded weapon. And in a series where time itself can twist open, no character is ever truly unreachable. Season 7's ending only adds more fuel to the theory. The war is stretching every character to their limit, and history is closing in around them like a tightening fist. In moments like these, stories often pull someone from the past to force the characters to face old wounds, unfinished business, or truths they have been running from. The writers know fans expect heartbreak and tension, but Season 8 is the final chapter. They need something bigger, something bold, something unforgettable. A massive comeback is the perfect tool to shake the world before the curtain falls. But the real reason A shocking return feels so possible lies in the emotional weight Outlander carries. This is a story built on deep bonds, strong loyalties, and wounds that never fully heal. Characters don't just disappear, they leave echoes behind. Sometimes those echoes grow louder until they become impossible to ignore. A final season is the moment when those echoes can finally turn into footsteps. Footsteps of someone who should not be here, but somehow is. That is the magic of Outlander. The past is never gone. It waits. It lingers. And in Season 8, it might finally open its hand and release the one person who will change every path the Frasers walk. A comeback that feels impossible, but fits the world perfectly. Fans all over the world are buzzing with theories, each one more dramatic than the last. What makes these theories so powerful is that Outlander has trained viewers to expect the unexpected. When a character disappears, the audience never knows if it's truly the end, or just the beginning of a twist waiting to unfold. Online forums, fan groups, and comment sections are filled with whispers, guessing which long-lost soul might step back into the story. And with the final season approaching, every theory feels larger, louder, and more daring than ever before. One of the biggest names fans keep bringing up is Murtagh Fraser. His death was emotional, heroic, and final, at least it seemed that way. But Outlander has already changed Murtagh's fate before, allowing him to live far beyond his book timeline. So the question rises again. Could he appear in visions, dreams, or even an alternate moment shaped by time travel? Some fans believe his return would serve as Jaime's emotional anchor at a moment when war threatens to crush him. Others think Jaime needs Murtagh's wisdom now more than ever. Then there is the darker theory. Blackjack Randall. Fans don't expect him to rise from the dead. Outlander rarely uses cheap tricks, but his presence could return through flashbacks, nightmares, or time-twisting encounters that blur the line between past and present. Season 8 may force Jaime to face the shadows he thought he buried. A villain like Randall doesn't need to be alive to haunt the story. His return, even in memory, could send shockwaves through the final season. Another theory points to Gillis Duncan, the unpredictable traveler who bends time to her own wild desires. She has escaped death before. Her obsession with power and bloodlines makes her a character who could reappear at the exact moment the story needs chaos. Fans believe she could return in another timeline, a hidden pocket of history, or even as a version of herself that survived in a different loop of time. With the final season closing in, a character like Gillis could turn everything upside down. Some fans even dare to whisper the name Dougal Mackenzie, imagining a flashback that brings his fierce spirit back into the plot. Others suggest Frank Randall, who might appear to Brianna in a revelation that connects the timelines one last time. And then there's the wild card theory, the idea that someone we believed gone, someone barely mentioned for years, could suddenly walk back into the story with a purpose no one saw coming. These theories aren't just wild guesses. They're built on years of watching Outlander twist reality, push fate, and break the rules of storytelling with purpose. Fans feel the tension rising, and as Season 8 approaches, every possibility feels alive again. The question isn't just who might return, it's who would change everything the moment they appear. Outlander has always followed a hidden pattern, one that longtime fans have learned to recognize, even if they can't always predict it. The show loves to circle back to moments that once felt finished, pulling old threads into new chapters when viewers least expect it. This pattern is part of what makes the series feel alive, almost as if time itself is a character with its own moods and secrets. Whenever the story reaches a major turning point, someone from the past steps forward, carrying a message, a warning, or a wound that must be reopened. Season 8 is the biggest turning point of all, which is why a surprising comeback feels not just possible, but almost necessary. Think back to the earlier seasons. Just when Claire believed she had left her old life behind, Frank's presence would pull her back into a painful memory. When Jaime thought he had lost every tie to his home, Murtagh would reappear like a flame, refusing to die out. Even characters who were gone continued influencing the story through letters, visions, echoes of conversations, or unfinished promises. Outlander does not let relationships fade quietly. It brings them back with purpose. This final season sits at the center of every timeline the show has built. Claire's journey from the 1940s, Jamie's fight through the 18th century, Brianna and Roger's struggle across centuries, they are all converging now. When stories collide like this, Outlander usually reveals something from the past to guide the characters toward their final fate. The writers love using history as a mirror, showing the characters who they used to be, they became, and who they might still become. A returning character is the perfect way to force that. Reflection, another reason a comeback fits the pattern, is emotional impact. Outlander thrives on deep personal connections. The most powerful moments are not explosions or battles. They are reunions, confessions, and confrontations. A surprising return gives the story emotional weight that a new character simply can't provide. It brings back history. It brings back feelings the characters tried to forget. It forces them to face the truth they've avoided. Season 8 needs a moment like that to complete the emotional circle the show has been building for more than a decade. And then there's the theme of unfinished business. A theme Outlander uses again and again. Many characters left the story with secrets untold, apologies unsaid, or destinies unfulfilled. Season 8 is the last chance to close those gaps. A comeback gives meaning to loose threads that fans have been debating for years. It ties the story together in a way that feels deliberate and satisfying. This pattern echoes of the past, turning at the story's peak, has been part of Outlander since the beginning. So when fans whisper about a shocking return in the final season, it doesn't sound strange. It sounds like the story doing exactly what it has always done, letting the past walk through the door one last time. Right when the characters and the audience least expect it. Among all the theories swirling around the Outlander fandom, one name keeps rising to the surface again and again, a character whose story feels unfinished, whose shadow still reaches across the seasons, and whose return would shake every timeline at once. Guileless Duncan. What makes this theory so powerful isn't just the shock value. It's the logic hiding underneath it, the quiet clues scattered across the series, and the way her presence ties directly into the heart of Outlander's final chapter. Guileless has always been more than a villain. She is a symbol of what happens when someone tries to control time instead of surviving it. The reason her return feels so believable is simple. Guileless has already done the impossible. She survived situations that should have ended her life, escaped moments where death seemed certain, and used time travel with a confidence no other character ever mastered. Even in her darkest moments, she always planned for her own return. She left signs, secrets, and symbols behind, almost as if she expected someone to follow her path. That alone opens the door to the idea that she may have created a backup, escape version of herself in another timeline, or a moment in history. She slipped through the cracks once more. Guileless's return would make sense for more than just shock. She is deeply tied to Brianna, to the Fraser bloodline, and to the mystery surrounding time travel. Season 8 is the last chance to answer questions the show has kept hidden for years. Why can some people travel? Why are certain bloodlines so important? And who started the chain of events that still shapes the characters' lives? Guileless was obsessed with these answers. Her life's mission was to change the future, no matter the cost. If the final season is closing the circle, then she is the perfect character to reopen it. Imagine the weight of her return. Claire would face the one person who challenged her in both mind and power. Jamie would stand against a force that nearly destroyed his family. Brianna, now older and stronger, would confront the woman who tried to take her life before she was even born. This comeback wouldn't just add drama, it would force every character to confront their past choices. It would push the story into its final conflict with emotional fire, not just action. And then comes the most chilling thought. Guileless may not come back as an enemy. She could return with knowledge no one else has, a warning about the war, or a truth that changes how Claire and Jamie understand their own lives. Outlander loves blurring the line between ally and enemy, and Guileless has always lived in that in-between space where danger and destiny meet. Her return would not be cheap or random. It would be the final echo of a story that began with two women standing near ancient stones, both touched by a power they barely understood. If Season 8 is about bringing the story full circle, then Guileless Duncan stepping out of the shadows might be the most fitting twist of all, the comeback no one dared predict, but everyone will feel once it happens. If Guileless Duncan returns, even for a single moment, the entire direction of Season 8 could change in ways no character is prepared for. Outlander has always shown that the smallest twist in time can ripple outward, reshaping lives, choices, and even history itself. But Guileless's return wouldn't be a small twist. It would be a shockwave. She carries knowledge of timelines, bloodlines, and historical turning points that no one else truly understands. And if she reappears just as the Revolutionary War reaches its boiling point, her presence could tilt the balance of destiny toward a new and unexpected ending. Imagine Jaime standing on the edge of a battle he isn't meant to survive, only for Guileless to appear with a warning about a future she has seen. Her motives may be unclear, but her knowledge would be undeniable. She could force Claire to question whether she should follow the path history demands or protect Jaime at any cost. Guileless's love for shaping the future has always been twisted, but she has also shown moments where her obsession reveals truths no one else wants to face. Her appearance could push Claire into a final, painful choice: save the man she loves, or protect the timeline she was never meant to change. Brianna and Roger would feel the impact just as strongly. They have fought through time itself to protect their children. But if Guileless returns, she may bring warnings about the Fraser bloodline and the dangers hidden in the future. She might reveal new information about time travel, why certain people can move through centuries while others cannot. If she exposes hidden risks, Brianna and Roger might have to choose between staying in the past or returning to the future permanently. A single revelation from Guileless could decide the fate of their family for generations. And then comes the darkest possibility. Guileless may not return to help at all. She could reappear with a new plan, one shaped by years lost in another timeline. She might seek revenge, or want to complete the mission she once began to guide Scotland into a future she personally controls. Her presence during the war could twist alliances, change planned battles, or lead Claire and Jaime into threats they never expected. A war fought on fields of blood could become a war fought across time itself. But the most powerful effect of her return would be emotional. Claire would face the shadow of her own journey, another woman who stood at the stones, full of passion and pain, trying to change her fate. Guileless has always been the mirror Claire never wanted to look into. Their final encounter could force Claire to confront her deepest fear, that the power to travel through time always comes with a price, and eventually someone must pay it. In the end, Guileless's comeback could transform the final season from a historical farewell into a time-bending climax, one where every decision, every sacrifice, and every truth built across 8 seasons collides at once. Her return wouldn't just change the story. It would redefine how the story ends. If a character like Guileless Duncan steps back into the world of Outlander in the final season, it won't just be a twist, it will be the final ripple in a story built on fate, love, and the weight of history. Outlander has always been more than battles and romance. It is a tale about how one choice can echo across centuries, how one heartbeat can change the shape of time, and how every life is connected by threads we cannot always see. A shocking comeback would bring all these themes together in a single, unforgettable moment. It would remind fans why the story has lasted so long and why these characters have stayed so deeply loved. For Claire and Jaime, a return like this would be the last test of everything they have survived. Every wound, every separation, every sacrifice would lead to this moment, a moment where the past comes alive once more. Their journey began with the mystery of the stones, and it would make perfect sense for that same mystery to rise again in the final chapter. Guileless's return would act like the final piece of a puzzle that has been scattered across 8 seasons. It would force Claire and Jaime not just to fight for their future, but to understand the true meaning of their journey through time. For Brianna, Roger, and their children, this comeback would deepen their connection to the past and the future. Guileless has always had a strange link to Brianna, link tied to blood, prophecy, and history. If she returns, Brianna might finally learn the truth about her family's place in the timeline. She might understand why her life has been so deeply shaped by forces she never chose. The Fraser family has always walked a narrow road between centuries, and this final shock could reveal the purpose behind it all. But more than anything, a surprising return in Season 8 would give fans the emotional closure they've been waiting for. Outlander is not a story that ends quietly. It ends with fire, with heart, and with meaning. A comeback allows the show to tie every thread together, to answer old questions, and to leave fans with a final message about destiny, that the past is never fully gone, the future is never fully set, and love can stretch across time in ways nothing else can as the final season approaches. Audiences can feel the tension rising. The story is about to close, but not before it gives one last breath of surprise, one last twist that reminds you